Hey guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lew. Coming to you live from Accelerate Life University, XLR8Life.com. Coach Lew will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the motivation, the energy, the life, and all the success you really want and deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lew.
Good morning and welcome back to Breakthrough with Lew. It is your morning, ready to rock and roll, guys. It is May already. Well, almost May already. How crazy is that? Yes. Almost didn't have all my comments up here, guys. So just in case you're in the chats already this morning and I missed something, I apologize. I'll get back to you on that. Today we're going to talk about something really unique, and that is the power of 90. I had already kind of planned what I was going to do for a show today, but we kind of rescheduled the mindset on that because it dawned on me. It hit me like a slap in the face, this power of 90. And I'm like, this needs to be addressed. And you might be going, what in the world are you talking about this morning, Lew? What is this magical power of 90? Well, I'm going to tell you, it is pretty magical. And I think God, or however you call you, Creator, works in really amazing ways. But this is just one of those ways that we see and go, you know what? This is something that you can't ignore. It just cannot be ignored. What am I talking about? Well, what I'm talking about here is the original thought process with 90, where it really hits home with me. As you guys know that, for years I've been a certified sleep coach, and for years I've also needed to really use that knowledge to help myself because sleep issues, it just is what it is. We're rocking and rolling human beings. I love my Life Boost coffee, by the way. Make sure you catch our links to order it because it's the best coffee out there. But seriously, for years and years, I had sleep problems. I decided to become a sleep sciences coach. And, over the years, the one thing that kept popping up there was 90. 90-minute cycles is where you win with sleep. It's not about how much sleep you get necessarily. It is about waking up at the end of that 90 to about 100 minutes like sleep cycle. Everybody's a little different, but 90 is the gold standard for that. Okay. Now the show is not about sleep cycles this morning. That's just the beginning of the 90, the magic of 90, the power of 90. And I don't have this scripted out this morning, guys. So it's not like, I never really script it out. I'll have an outline of what I want to teach. But this power of 90 it came bam, right upside the cheek because all of a sudden I realized that there is the 90-minute focus time to work, that your brain works really well in a 90-minute circadian rhythm. Okay, so if you need to get something important done, you set a timer for 90 minutes, boom, then you take a 10 or 15-minute break and come back and do 90 more minutes. If you work, you get more done in 90 minutes than you will in 6 hours if you don't break it up. And I'm like, there it is again, 90. I'm like, something to this. And it all has to do with the brain waves. Sleep cycle brain waves. Focus brain waves, 90. And I'm like, wow, I need to share this. And this might sound overly simplified. You might go, well, I kind of know that already. I do Pomodoro, I do this, I do that for timing. But I try to get 8 hours sleep. 8 hours sleep is not good. Okay. 6 is about what I usually sleep, and I'll wake up. 7.5 if I'm extremely tired. But what does that come out to? Those are increments of 90-minute sleep cycles. What's really great is it used to be I'd wake up every 90 minutes. It used to be at one point in life I'd wake up every hour. That wasn't good. That was starting to really wear on me. Then 90 minutes, I'm like, okay, it's a sleep cycle. I'm a little more sensitive to waking up. And then it turned into, oh, wow, I got 3 hours. I went through 2 sleep cycles without waking up. Now sometimes it's 4.5, where I go, oh, wow, okay, I'm almost there. It's about another hour and a half. I'm probably waking up. But there's a key factor to that, too, and that's waking up without an alarm. Setting a bedtime is more important than setting an alarm time. And you might go, no, Lou. I got to be at work at 7. If I don't wake up by 6, I don't make it, or 5:30 or whatever it is. I get it. But getting in a habit of your body automatically awakening before the alarm clock goes off, that's where it's like, oh, that's like heaven, baby. Let me tell you. But so, we got the 90-minute sleep cycle. We got the 90-minute focus cycle in our brains. Okay, this is chemically driven algorithms in your body. Okay, your body's in these rhythms. And it's still pretty miraculous that 2 of the most important things that you can do for success, sleep and focus, come in 90-minute segments. Pretty unique. Guy upstairs came up with this design for our bodies, or however you think you were created. Okay? I'm not going to give you a sermon this morning. So, come along, and I'm thinking, 90 things pretty cool. What is the biggest goal time frame? Everybody says a year. 1 year is my 1 year goals. No, more people do 90-minute sprints. 90-minute sprints, yeah, okay. 90-day sprints, okay? 90-day sprints. Even when you're focused on an annual goal, you usually break it up into the quarters and go, what are my 90-day sprints? Here we are. We're back at this magic number 90. Now, I'm not getting all woo-wah, and I'm not going to tell you Mars and Jupiter aligned and this is what created this. Maybe God had his hand in it. But the thing is this 90 number is important to you. It is kind of magical, okay? And I'm not being woo-woo on this, guys, but I'm talking the truth here, okay? I'm speaking the truth. 90 is your number, okay? What's the other thought process on 90? What if you lived to be 90? Was that a good life? Is that a long life? I personally would like to go over 100. But seriously, most people, what is it? The median age for men is 70 or 72 and women 78 or something. So if you live to be 90, think about this. If you live to be 90, you're ahead of 90% of the world. Wow, how cool is that? I don't know, there's something to this. And you know what? Maybe it's not technically all interlaced and, clandestine to be this big thing to do with the number 90. Okay. Maybe it is just something you could use to motivate yourself. What if you looked at your night's sleep and said, okay, there is science behind the 90-minute sleep cycles. What if I set myself up to wake up towards the end of a 90-minute sleep cycle? See, I'll give you an example of why this is so important. Have you ever woken up after a long night's sleep and just been totally disoriented and totally out of it and sleepy and go, man, I slept 8-10 hours and I feel like I haven't slept at all? Or have you ever had one of those nights where stuff was going on and, I'm not talking about going out drinking because that totally messes up your sleep cycles. I'm talking about, there was an emergency or you had to work late or something, or you got to be up extra early for an event and you get like 4.5 hours sleep and you feel like $1 million. And you're like, I didn't really sleep much, but wow, I feel great. It's all about that sleep cycle. Same thing with, wow, I had a really productive day. I worked on this for about an hour and a half, grabbed a quick bite to eat, worked on this for about an hour and a half, got that knocked out. All this stuff, I got done in about an hour and a half each block. Now, if you hadn't have taken that focus block and that little break in there, you would have maybe gotten half of it done. Okay, and then you've had these days where you're like, I've worked on this all day and the day flew by and I don't feel like I got anything accomplished. Did you take the break? Did you use your 90-minute focus times? Look at these things. I'm not telling you just take my word for it. I'm telling you, look through your own history and go, when was I the most productive? When does it work? How does it work the best for me? School is a prime example. If you could take a class, and of course, if it's enjoyable, it helps. If you're taking a class that's about 90 minutes long, then you go to the next class, you socialize with your friends on the way through, you got to run to the other side of the campus to get there, you get the blood flowing, you're ready for the next class. That last one, you were starting to get to that point where you were ready to fall asleep. Okay? So that's the same thing with, extra long events. You ever been to Unleash the Power with Tony Robbins, especially if you did it pre the past decade? You were there day and night, 16, 17 hours a day, sometimes longer. But he was smart, especially back earlier, because they've kind of mellowed the events, which is, I don't know. They used to be everybody was up dancing on their chairs and jumping up and down on the chairs, and it's like, oh, that's not safe. So, it kind of took it down a level. But, you just, when you were like going, oh my God, I'm ready to fall out, Tony had it down to a science. About 90 minutes of discussion and talking, and he can watch his crowd and know they're falling out. Get up, everybody, jump on some music, and just really jam out for 5-10 minutes and bam, back to it. And you're like, wow, I've been here 12 hours and I feel like I just got here. Why? Because you broke up that 90-minute block of time. Now, there have been times I've been at the events and Tony would forget about that kind of thing. And, 3 hours later, we're on the same discussion or he's talking to somebody and it's like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I'm out. I need to go get out of the room for a minute or something. And you miss something because it's like, oh, shoot, probably should have broke it up a little bit in between. So, but he was a master at doing that. Just when you thought you couldn't do any more, shift gears for 5 or 10 minutes and boom, you feel like $1 million again. It's the same thing with the 90-day sprints. When you look at something for a year feels like a long time until one passes. And you go, when did that happen? Right? Seriously. But a year seems like it's so far out. A quarter? That's kind of quick. If you're doing your federal taxes, if you're a business owner and you're whacking that stuff out on a quarterly basis, that comes around pretty darn quick. So is it easier to monitor your goals and to break them into 4 chunks for the year and take this bigger goal and break it into 4 sub-goals, or however you want to call it, sub-accomplishments, whatever it is? Is it easier to do that than it is to look at the whole year and trudge through the whole year doing it? Now, let me offer you even another little perspective on that. What if you took that annual goal? This is just a thought process here, guys. You follow me on this. Give me some comments. Let me know what you think. And if you're not subscribed to the channels wherever you're watching me, and there's a subscription, if you can subscribe. Like this stuff. Share this stuff with your friends. If it's something that helps you, share it. When you share stuff like this, it doesn't harm you. It doesn't take away from you. It's not your dirty little secret. It's the more you share and the more you get the rest of the world on the same page, infinitely the better life gets. Okay, that was a side trip. So here we are again. We're going, okay, we got this annual goal. And at the end of it, I'm going to reward myself with this. It seems so far away. Now, when you get near that last quarter of that goal, you might really get jumping because you're going, oh my God, I'm behind. And if I don't do this, I'm not taking my family on vacation or whatever the treat for the goal was. What if you did these 90-day sprints, 90, now you're hearing me, 90-day sprints, and you had a break or a reward at the end of that 90 days. Maybe not the big reward for hitting the whole goal or the whole outcome, but you put in there these little things where it's like, all right, I'm going to work really hard on this project for 90 days, and then we're going to take a weekend at the beach. and totally decompress. How does that feel? You're like, cool, I don't have to wait a frickin' year to do this. That's awesome. I think it's awesome. That's my thought process right there. That is awesome. So take it to the bank, guys. We'll talk more about this 90 days out. Let's go. Get it going. Let's start your 90-90-90. Try to commit to getting sleep in your 90. Well, don't commit to it. Don't try to. But, I know once in a while you're going to get bumped off and something's going to go sideways and you're not going to get 90 perfect, sleep cycles. But try to get that going. Try to get it more than not. And get it going. Don't try to get it going. Just get it going. Set yourself up to win. If you know you got to be up at 6 in the morning, you know when to go to bed. Do your sleep cycles backwards. Count them back. 90-minute cycles. And figure out when you need to go to bed. Now, my favorite is 6 hours. I do really well on 6 hours. 7.5 if I'm tired. 4.5 if I'm on top of the world or fasting or something. I might have extra energy. But my point to this is let's get that going. And let's get the focus times going. It works. Set your little timer and go. In 90 minutes, I'm going to work hard and go at the toughest task first. Go at the toughest thing of your day first thing. Once you do that, the rest of it gets easier. Plus, you have the most brain power, the most fueled brain energy earlier in the day. If you want to leave your toughest task till last, you're going to find that it's going to get done half-assed. See that rhyme? Last, half-assed. Think of that. Plus, it's going to burn you out. It's going to make your evening less fun. So let's do that. Let's do that. And then what else? Make an annual goal. Set an annual goal today. Send something that you want to be at a certain place, certain level in 1 year from today. And then break it into 4 sub-levels. And, make it right on time. So you're, each quarter, you're right on time. But give yourself little quarterly rewards. Now, it might not be a little weekend vacation. You might tell me, Lou, I'm not in that financial position right now. Well, it could be a weekend staycation. No, I can't. I can't close our business that long. And I know the feeling, and I've heard it, and I still hear it to this day. And I'm like, if we don't, it's going to be an emotional train wreck or physical train wreck at some point if we don't start taking some time for us. And so you need to take some time for you. But the point is this, in your family, the point is this, that it might only be in 90 days I buy myself a new workout outfit. Maybe this is a physical goal you're setting for the end of the year. And, when you lose all this weight, you're going to Bimini or something like that. And you're in great shape at the end of the year. But, nothing in between? No. First quarter, maybe you lose 10 pounds and you go, wow, my exercise clothes kind of look like crap on me. Well, you know what? If you're at a certain level at that 90 days, you give yourself a new exercise outfit, a new pair of sneakers, a new heart rate monitor, a new gym bag, stuff like that. Keep it in line with what you're doing. Because this is, I'm going to caution you, and I'm going to cut you loose this morning, but I'm going to give you the biggest pitfall in the world. People go out, they do a diet, they do an exercise plan, they do a financial plan, and they hit a certain thing. Well, when I lose 10 pounds, I'm going to eat a whole cake. Or, I'm going to treat myself to this big fatty dinner. Okay? Well, that's not really in line with your goals. Okay? I'm going to treat myself to a new outfit because I look good in it. That's a good idea. All right? I'm going to treat myself to a new laptop because I increased my sales volume. And now that comes out of that, and I'm still ahead of the game, and I can have a new laptop, is much better than I'm going to go party it up at the bar and buy everybody drinks when I hit this level of sales. That's kind of a waste. That's kind of counterproductive. I'm not saying you never hang out with your friends or do anything, or you can never have a drink. I mean, I'm not that rigid. Well, maybe I am. I don't drink. Just because I don't like the way it makes me feel. But it doesn't mean I may never have a glass of beer or a glass of wine ever again. It just means that as 99.99% of the time, I just choose not to do that. I would much rather do something else. I would much rather get something cool or do something that's really inspiring. Okay, doesn't mean you never have a party, or you never go to dinner, or you never celebrate. But if you don't celebrate in line with your goals, you're kind of undoing it. You're kind of telling your mind, no, you're not kind of, you are telling your mind and your body that, okay, this is temporary. This clean eating and taking care of my body is temporary, because my celebration for losing weight is going to be to go overeat. Okay. And it doesn't mean that once in a while you don't have a celebration. It was Lexi's birthday party on Saturday, and I didn't eat right. Okay. But it was about just celebrating my daughter's birthday. Okay. There was no huge expectation. Now, I didn't overdo it. I didn't pig out to a point where I felt sick. Instead, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have some things that I normally don't eat, but I'm not gonna overdo it. There's no sense in sitting there holding your belly going, oh my God. That's silly. It undoes the whole premise of it. It was about being around people you like, about being there with your child as they're celebrating another year, and buying a house too, which is really cool. So they're doing really good there. It was just, that was what it was about. It wasn't about getting together and overeating. It was about getting together and celebrating. And you can do that without undoing the good you're doing on your journey. I think that's one of the biggest messages I want to send you today. You can do things to reward yourself, but make those rewards in line with what you're doing. And that's not being too rigid. That is being sensible. If you are going to, and hear me loud and clear on this, if you're going to reward yourself for doing something in like the 90-day sprint and completing, keep it in line with what you're doing. I just noticed a bunch of people tuned in. So what we're talking about is like people who go on a diet, do a 90-day diet, and then, to celebrate, they go have this horrendous meal. And that's not keeping you in line. Keeping you in line would be, okay, I've done really good and I've lost weight and I'm feeling great. You buy yourself a new outfit that shows that off. Spend that as your reward. So in essence, I'm going to recap it. What we talked about today, this power of 90, guys, is this. 90-minute sleep cycles are where it's at. 90-minute focus cycles when you're working or accomplishing is where it's at. This is all biorhythms of the body. And 90-day sprints are so important to getting you to where you want to go to your successes. So this power of 90, is it magical? Yes. Is it woo-woo? I don't think so. I think it's just something you harness and put to work for you. Guys, I'm going to cut you loose this morning. Go out and get it. This is the beginning of the week. Time to get it. Live with faith, energy, passion, always. And I mean always live your dreams. And I'll see you guys on the next roundabout. This is Coach Lew signing off. Ciao for now, guys.
Ready to take it to the next level? Next level? Tune in to XLR8Life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lew himself. As Coach Lew always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dream.